Royal Rumble. Greatest. First, let's clear up some club business. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Dingle, the head of the Jobber Club Research Division, on winning the Jobber Club World Heavyweight Championship of the Universe. So, well done to him. No matter what the VP thinks, Dingle won it. End of story. The president has spoken. Right, let's move on to the show. There's a lot to get through, and luckily most of it was shit, so we can get through it fairly quickly. John Cena vs Triple H started the show for some strange reason. It was fine. I guess out of the way now. I'm sure you've watched many reviews of it. This has been described as a house show by fucking everybody. Just an over-promoted house show. And for me, I was always under the impression that a house show is actually a better wrestling show than the normal Monday Night Raw. And for me, a good portion of these matches were subpar compared to a normal Monday Night Raw match. So I was expecting that even if it is a house show, we should be getting better matches than what we normally see on Raw. That was what I understood, because they've played to the crowd a bit more. Didn't have to worry about sponsors and all that sort of business. That's my take. Even though I was under the impression the house show should be better. The last house show I saw with the jobbers, let's just say I was rather levelled up. You know what it means. And we'll leave it at that. John Cena Triple H, it was fine. Just two, working the crowd. It wasn't spectacular. It was just two old guys. Good. No, it was fine. Next we had Cedric Alexander versus Kalisto, the Cruiserweight title. And this, for me, was the best match on the card. Cedric won. I think he should have won. And, best match on the card for me. Next was Deleters of World, Deleters of Worlds. They delete things in the world. And they took on the Bar. This match was fine. The Deleters of Worlds won, as was kind of... It was foreshadowed by the fact that Sheamus and Cesaro went to SmackDown anyway. So, this match was fine. Matt Hardy looks it's sometimes uncomfortable watching Matt Hardy wrestle. The finisher that no one seems to really like, I thought was all right, but I think the way they could do it better is maybe have. I like the idea of a double twist of fate, but maybe have, rather than Bray holding him around the waist, maybe have, make sure Bray's the legal man, and Jeff Hardy does a twist fate, but have Bray Wyatt have them on the legs on his shoulders, and as he does a twist of fate, have Bray sort of sit down as Jeff Hardy's doing the twist of fate, have him sit down, and then he can sort of just step over them and into the pin. I think that'd be the best way of doing it, because I like the twist of fate idea. The Sister Abigail, I don't like the Sister Abigail. I like it when two people do the same thing, not when it's just one person passes another one into them. I don't like that. I think if Bray got them legs on his shoulders, and if he sat down as Matt Hardy came with the twist of fate, if he sat down and he's got to do his step over and pin 1, 2, 3. That's the way I think they should do it, much better. Not just some wheelbarrow and just drop him. I think fall with him, it looked really good. What was next? Next was the best botch I've seen in a match. Jeff Hardy versus Jinder Mahal. Match was pretty shit. Jeff retained. And Jeff Hardy went for a whisper in the wind, and it missed Jinder by a fucking country mile, yet Jinder still fell to the mat. It was fucking ridiculous. I mean, I watched it with a couple of jobbers, and we rewound it and watched it a couple of times. It was fucking hilarious. The best part of the match, it was funny as shit. And Corey Graves, bless his heart, bless his cotton socks, he tried so hard to make reason as to why it happened. And he initially, I didn't write it down, but he initially said something along the lines of, maybe Jinder's, playing possum and letting Jeff Hardy think he's got something. And then he said, what I think happened was the impact of Jeff Hardy buckled Jinder Mahal's knees. It wasn't as if that Jinder's knees just crumbled. Jinder Mahal literally just went doosh. Yeah, but Corey Graves, got to applaud you for trying, mate. So fair enough. Yeah, but the match was shit. Apart from that, the match was bloody shit. Jericho's backstage. He had a backstage interview. He did the getting the interview's name wrong, Mike or Tom, and then he put people on the list, so it was fine. Bludgeon Brothers beat the Usos. The match was also fine. Another title retention. Well, every title was retained apart from the Raw tag titles that had to be, someone had to win them, or they could have drawn, but they didn't. Someone had to win them. Every other title match was retention, which is fucking garbage. Anyway, yeah, that match was fine. Seth took on Joe next, and The Miz and Finn Balor in a ladder match, which was by far the boringest ladder match I think I've maybe seen. It was safe, it was fine, but it was boring. The spots weren't there that you usually expect. It was fine. And Seth, although the ending was quite entertaining, it kind of shits on every other ladder match when all you need to do is run up the ladder and win. In that moment, it was a good ending. But when you think, why don't they do that in every single ladder match? Because Seth was taken out, Finn Balor was climbing the ladder, and like always, he's low on stamina, like the fucking PlayStation game. He's doing one step at a time. Yet Seth just comes up from the outside of the ropes, jumps onto the ropes, jumps onto the ladder, just runs up the ladder, and just takes the belt off Finn. And it just, it shoots a bit of logic into how you win a ladder match into an illogical situation where you're supposed to take forever. But there you go, the match was fine. Next we had the fucking Saudi Arabian people in the Performance Centre who'd passed or been signed or whatever. They sort of gave some, they were being introduced and everything. Then the Daivari brothers came down to the ring. Obviously, these are the Daivaris, or the foreign heroes hated by the Saudi Arabian people. And they just give them some shit. It was, for me, watching it was absolutely shit, but I understand the Saudi Arabian people in the arena loved it. So it wasn't done for us, it was done for them, so I'm fine with it, I understand why. Some of the people in the ring, one of the guys, when Daivari was giving them a promo, one of the Saudi Arabia guys was doing that, like, oh, your breath smells horrendous, oh, please stop talking to me. It was fucking dreadful. There was a very slight scuffle, and a bit of pushing. I think someone got body slammed, that was it. It was fine. Speaking of the Saudi Arabia, the fans, one thing that fucked me off was them constantly walking about and not looking at the match. Another note, they had some wicked nice looking armchairs, to be fair to them. But they spent a lot of the match walking. I think just as well, the fact that obviously everywhere, sort of behind the ring, everywhere is black and dark and that, yet they're all wearing like the big fucking white, ghost sheets. So it's, when they move, it's really noticeable. That pissed me off a little bit. And the fact that they're constantly sat there recording it through their iPads, and oh my god, I've never seen so many iPads in my fucking life, my god. But the fact that everyone was recording it through their iPads and iPhones and shit pissed me off a little bit. But to be fair to them, on their plus side, they did maintain a fair bit of noise throughout the whole show, and even throughout the Royal Rumble, there's a few spots where they really popped. I wouldn't say the crowd was shit, noise-wise. I think the fact that you saw so many of them just walking about and not paying attention to what was going on was a bit of a shame. I think on the whole, I think they were fairly good. They were a lot better and more of a including crowd than I gave them credit for before, so fair play to them. Next we had AJ Styles versus Nakamura, and this was by far, without question, apart from the ending, a much, much better match we've got at WrestleMania. The ending was infuriating. The match was good. The ending went in this sequence, and it was just terrible, really. AJ comes in for a phenomenal forearm. Nakamura dodges it. AJ nearly gets the ref, but lands safe and makes sure the ref is all right. Nakamura, right in the bollocks again. AJ's down. I think Kinshasa. And 1, 2, AJ's got the ropes, breaks the count. So Nakamura comes back and gets ready for another Kinshasa, comes storming at AJ. AJ, bang, forearm, counters it. Nakamura rolls out the ring. And then for whatever reason, AJ gets out of the ring and then he sort of spears, tackles Nakamura, not through the announce table, but onto the announce table, sort of over it. And the next thing we know is a count out. What the fuck? I understand that when the fact that the rest of the show has been fucking boring as shit on the whole, the matches themselves have contained nothing except apart from Jinnah's hilarious botch. The matches themselves haven't been that exciting. I mean, the Cruz match was pretty good. This match was better than Mania up to this point, but it wasn't like the non-stop, shocking, amazing, mind-blowing show that I thought we were going to get. After it being hyped up by fucking every conceivable wrestling source I'd read, watched and listened to. It's a draw. So, the belt doesn't change hands. No one wins, no one loses. They both kind of stay strong. And the rematch was announced for Backlash in the Saudi Arabia show at some point. But I didn't like it. I felt flat, like we've been cheated out of a good match again. I understand why. They don't obviously they didn't want the belt to change. I mean, they didn't want any of the mid cards or the tag belts to change hands. I mean, they're not going to let the WWE title change hands either. So they didn't want Nakamura to lose when he's just turned heel. They didn't want him to win either. So this was the only option they had left. But it was executed poorly. It was a normal, fine, good wrestling match, and then it's just out of nowhere. It's a 10 count. And after the match, AJ, smacks Nakamura with a steel chair. But the way they should have done this is base it more around emotion, because Nakamura in the build-up to WrestleMania was saying AJ's too emotional, and AJ's now got a reason to be extra emotional because Nakamura's hit him in the bollocks fucking constantly. So now AJ, get to a point where AJ's getting frustrated, and he's, when he's in the corner, the ref is, getting to 5, but sort of not disqualifying him, but having to pull him off. And so AJ just wants to beat on Nakamura and do it that way, not just randomly out of the blue. AJ is, and them getting themselves counted out. Having a gradual thing that AJ's getting more and more and more pissed off, and Nakamura is winding him up more and more, and Nakamura's giving him, say Nakamura gives him 2 or 3 low blows, not to win, just to piss him off. And once he's recovered from his low blows, he's just more and more frustrated. That would have made much more sense of a counter, that AJ's just outside beating the living snot out of Nakamura, and he's got to get pulled off of him I don't know, a Backlash have the match, I don't know, a last man standing or an Iron match or something. It's got to have or a no DQ. I mean, no DQ's a bit gets thrown around a lot, doesn't it? So maybe a last man standing or something, perhaps. I don't fucking know. But that's what I would have done. Seemed random. The match was better than Mania up to that point, and the ending I didn't have what time for. What was next? Oh yeah, Rusev versus Undertaker. Undertaker won. Rusev got in a lot more offense there than I thought he would. The match was fine. The pop like shit for Rusev Day. They loved it. The match was fine. After realising what the Greatest Royal Rumble was, it wasn't the constant marking out returns that I thought it was going to be. I can understand why Rusev would have wanted his own marquee match rather than just being chucked in the Rumble. Even if he lost, I can still sort of understand why you're a bit more out there, a bit more exposed than just being one of the many numbers in the Rumble. Match was fine. Taker won. Anyway. Next we have Brock versus Roman Reigns. Match was just the same. Superman punches, suplexes, F5s, and spears. Pretty much all the match was. The controversy around this match is the ending. Roman speared. Brock was on the apron between the cage and the ropes. Roman speared him through the cage. Roman's feet clearly touched the floor first. The rules clearly state, WWE's own rules, might I add, state that both feet must touch the floor for the person to win. It also states that the way to win by escaping is either through the door or over the top rope, over the top of the cage. I'm sorry, over the top of the cage. Of course, they didn't do either of that. They sort of made their own door, but I think it's kind of an unwritten rule that if someone goes through the cage, it's counted as an escape or counted as a door exit or something. I don't know. And Roman's feet both clearly touched the floor. I mean, Brock landed as he came through the cage, landed perfectly, like fucking Jesus Christ, arms and legs like that. And he was down. But for some reason, because Brock's back fat, like wade through the mesh, that somehow counts as both feet. Whatever. Just more of this fucking Roman and Brock nonsense. And now for some reason we've got Roman versus Joe at Backlash, and what they're going to do with Brock Lesnar. My God, please, let's just chuck Drew Galloway against Brock Lesnar, or Bobby Lashley against Brock Lesnar, have one of them win the belt. Please. Anyway, next was the Royal Rumble, and this was fucking shit. It was mega deflating. A couple of notes I will mention. Sami Zayn wasn't in the Royal Rumble, to my understanding, because of him being a Syrian Muslim, and the relationship between the Saudi Arabians and the Syrian Muslims, or however it works, is pretty poor. So that's why Sami Zayn wasn't there. Because I did wonder when Kevin Owens was there by himself. I've had a look into it, and that seems to be why. Also, 2 records were broken. Daniel Bryan was in there for the longest time in any Royal Rumble at 1 hour, 16 minutes and 5 seconds. Braun Strowman eliminated 13 people in the Rumble, which is one more than Roman Reigns did a few years ago. So Braun Strowman now holds the record for most eliminations in a Royal Rumble. The biggest talking point was Titus World Slide, and that was fucking hilarious. I mean, I kind of feel sorry for him, but I also kind of don't, because that's the only way, Tyson here was going to get any sort of notoriety from this show, was doing some kind of fuck up. Although I don't think he intended to do it, but it was fucking hilarious. And they played it multiple, even when people coming down to the ring, I forget who it was, but they weren't nobody. They were still playing this replay because it was fucking hilarious. I was in absolute pieces. It proper got me. But this Rumble was pretty shit, very deflating. The first 20 people if I'd have paid for it, I would have wanted my money back. There was nothing great about this. It was the biggest, and that was it. Yeah, and just read you some of the names of the fucking people who are in it, right? Mike Kanellis. We've not seen him on SmackDown or any TV for fucking months. Hiroki Sumi. I believe he was the Samoan, not Samoan, what are the fat wrestlers called? It eludes me. Anyway, the fat zombie wrestlers that just wear diapers and nappies and shit. Hornswoggle we had Primo Cologne, Babatunde, and Dan Mothma. Why they get Hornswoggle back is beyond me. Primo, not seen him for months. And the last 2, I haven't got a fucking clue where they are anyway. The best thing about this match for me, apart from the Titus World Slide, was seeing the amount of people who Daniel Bryan could potentially wrestle. Seeing him wrestle people, like there was a short spot with him and Kurt Angle. Daniel Bryan and Chad Gable was a good little spot. Daniel Bryan and Roderick Strong. So yeah, there was a few bigger names of the NXT that were there, but overall it was really shit. And as soon as there was only two people who were going to win, Daniel Bryan and Braun. As soon as Daniel Bryan came out first, you sort of knew Braun was going to win. The other thing was a massive botch from Bobby Lashley. I mean, he tried to suplex Big Cass. I think he meant to go for the delayed, but when he got him up, he sort of stumbled a bit, or whatever happened. There was no balance, and then he sort of, as he came down, he sort of got him straight back up, and he sort of fell, and it looked fucking horrible. But to be fair, the whole show was riddled with botches. I don't think I've ever seen a show so full of botches in my whole life. I mean, it was on Friday. It's now fucking Monday, so I don't remember every exact one, but it was a lot more than I remember seeing from another show. The Rumble was poor. Braun won. Well done. He gets he got a trophy he couldn't lift up, and he got a green belt. I don't understand why I got the belt as well. I don't know if WWE are going to come back and do this every single year. After this show, I fucking hope not. I won't be in a rush to watch it. I can tell you that after seeing this show. No titles changing hands. No. Rey Mysterio may just return, but he returned at the Royal Rumble anyway. So I don't fucking know. It wasn't great. I didn't particularly enjoy it. Best match was the Cruiserweights. The best thing was probably Tati's sliding, followed by Jinder Mahal's obscene botch, and then the Cruiserweight title match, I think. I didn't really enjoy it. It was hyped up way beyond what it should have been hyped up to, if you ask me. If I was Saudi Arabia, I'd want my fucking money back, to be honest with you. But anyway, Monday Night Raw's tonight, and we've got Backlash on Sunday, I believe. This show wasn't. It was fine. I think overall it was fine. There was nothing spectacular. It wouldn't. If I was Saudi Arabian who hadn't seen wrestling before, I don't think this would particularly make me want to start watching wrestling. But there we go. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you're probably not mentally well if you enjoyed it, if you ask me, because it was just shit. Luckily, I've got a few hours of New Japan to watch, and I hear there's a few matches are pretty good, so I'm looking forward to watching them. Maybe I should start reviewing New Japan as well. I don't know. Anyway, that was the show. I've been your president. Leave me a comment, let me know if you enjoyed it, and if you did, fucking please explain to me how and why you enjoyed it, because I don't fucking get it. And I'll see if I review Raw. I might do. Yeah, it's 3 hours, man. I can't compress 3 hours into a short review. I don't know. Anyway, goodbye.